Welcome back everyone to more strange videos. Just before we dive in today, I do want to talk about the song that I was hoping to have uploaded for November called Control. Unfortunately, for personal reasons, I did have to leave the band, but the guys have put up the song on their own YouTube channel, so I will leave the link in the description below. The song is called Control. I wrote the lyrics to it, and the song is essentially about us being slaves and realizing that we are in the slave system, waking up and fighting back to take back control.
Waking up to put our strings on, puppeteers for the 1%. We can't go on holding on this long. When will we stop being slaves? We have to fight and rise for our rights. Gotta take them out and take back our freedom.
So go ahead and give that a listen when you can, guys. And on that note, let's go ahead and dive in.
Mysteries in the organic produce world right now is, how did the new appeal coating with financial backing from Bill Gates get approved for use on organic produce? You'll see these appeal stickers on lots of produce items now. It means the produce has a coating on it that seals it up tight against anything getting in or out, preserves it longer, like the introduction of the refrigerator. Great, but what's in this coating? Well, it seems to be shrouded in mystery. The product intended to be organic, listed as Organapeel, is registered with the EPA as a pesticide with a rather short and cryptic ingredient list. Active ingredient, citric acid at 0.66%. Other ingredients, not named, 99.34%. And that's 100%. Great, it's all accounted for. Maybe it's listed that way because citric acid could qualify as organic if it's not from a synthetic source. But what about the other 99.34%? Because I'm supposed to eat this coating. Oh, and get this, the EPA requires this caution on the label. Wash thoroughly with soap and water after handling and before eating. The certificate the Organic Material Review Institute issued to it that approved its use on organics lists it as a fungicide with no ingredient specified. Not sure what that's based on, but this is starting to smell. It reeks of influence peddling. And the antiseptic for that smell is always sunlight with a liberal splash of transparency. I don't know about you, but I'm finding appeal rather unappealing. I don't think I'll dip my produce in this.
So 0.66% is citric acid, but can't tell us what the 99.34 is. Then we've got milk and butter over here that uses Bovar to stop cows from actually farting, not to mention the fact that we have fake meat, all by Bill Gates, of course, who cares deeply for our health and definitely not for money or agendas.
You're right. His family was recording her before taking her to the cemetery. No one saw her open her eyes at that moment until her daughter was looking at her recording days later. She was terrified and didn't know how to react to see. She decided to post it online without knowing this would go viral. Japanese girl was smoking outside her apartment when someone caught her attention from far away.
I'll let you guys decide on this, but this does make me wonder just how many people in the past have been buried alive. I mean, is this one of your worst fears?
Hello? 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 Let me out! Where the fuck am I?
This is why you should always keep your distance from an orangutan. This terrifying video comes from Adventures in Sea. I'll tag it below. And she posted a video of her being grabbed by an orangutan. And it should be noted that an orangutan's strength is up to 7 times that of a human. And they're born with insanely strong grip strength, so they can swing through the trees with ease. And while some of this may even seem comical, trust me, it's not. Because had she not kept her cool, it could have gone way worse. Take a look.
Stop it! Stop!
Mina.
You want to eat my hand? No, No. No. Ow. Can you help me?
It's okay.
No, I have nothing. I have nothing.
Jackie. Nanas yung cepat nanas. Doon pa rin ya, Jis pa rin ya, doon pa rin ya. Doon pa rin ya. Sorry ya. Sure. Jackie. Not yet. Jackie. Yang ini jangan dekat sini nanti.
I remember watching a documentary about a woman who had an orangutan as a pet, and she had it for years, and one day her friend stopped by and actually saw the orangutan rip her to shreds. Fortunately, the woman did survive. However, her face was ripped open, left blind, and her hands were missing as well. So they're definitely not to be messed with.
This video has just surfaced on X, and it's someone using a 200x magnifying zoom on a telescope, and they're zooming in on these drones that are all over New Jersey. And I'm freaking out because this thing looks exactly like the stars that I'm sure we all see in the sky every night. But what's weird is I've always been someone who looks at the stars, right? I've been just kind of obsessed with it. And whenever I'm out at night, I always look up. And I've always noticed that there are normal stars that are just white and shining and static and they don't change. But then there's always other stars that look exactly like this video. They constantly flash between like red, green, and sometimes like a yellowy white. It's hard to tell exactly the colors because they're so small and they flash so quick. I've always seen these things, and I've always thought it's weird that like, why do those stars not flash and they're white, and why do those stars flash so many different colors? Like they must be different things. They must be. But I've never heard anyone kind of talk about that, but it's just something that I've always noticed. And now this video is basically a close-up of that. So now I'm wondering what the hell those things are. Does anybody else see that at night? Surely I'm not the only one.
Check this thing out. Anytime I try to zoom in with my camera all the way up to the drone, this is what I get. It has a round, like, shield around it. Fucking nuts. Well, right, that's zoomed in, 208. And I'll show you the drone right now. Up in the sky.
Please tell me you guys see these things too.
I've heard many theories about these drones being over New Jersey. I've heard that it could be some sort of secret military program, surveillance drills, aliens, foreign entities, and even people just flying their own drones over that area because others are. But what's your thoughts on this?
This cult may actually be stealing souls.
This is in Arizona?
This is in Arizona. And this really rich guy, he's a, what is it? He's a Rothschild. A Rothschild. He bought this town of Felicity and named it after his wife, Felicity.
Wait, is this real?
Who we think we ran into.
Can we make sure that this is real?
We visited it.
Go for tours of this place.
Oh, we did a tour. We did a horrifying.
Why?
Tried to get us in the center of the pyramid, in the center of the thing, put our foot in the middle, save this thing and make a wish and then sign a contract. And I was like, and we were like, I'm not doing that. And she was like, well, it's the only part of the tour you have to do. And they go to do the tour. And that's when we said, we don't want to do the tour anymore. We're going to leave. And she was pissed. And then they said, she goes, this right here is the center of the world.
This is in Arizona?
This is in Arizona. And this really rich guy, he's a, what is it? He's a Rothschild. A Rothschild. He bought this town of Felicity and named it after his wife, Felicity.
As always, thanks for watching. Stay weird.
So all of what you see and heard is true, except the Rothschilds were never actually involved with Felicity. It was named after a man's wife, a French man by the name of Jacques-Andre Estelle, an investment banker, historian, and known as the father of like American skydiving. But it doesn't take away the creepiness of this place.
Puppet!
Gamers and pubgoers will be able to use their smartphones to prove their age as part of government plans for digital IDs. Under proposals, people will eventually be able to prove their identity for many different things using a government-backed app.
No,
Our political correspondent Harry Horton is in Westminster. Harry, is this Labour, do you think, revisiting the idea of a national ID?
Well, the government says no. They say this is about embracing modern emerging technologies. Now, there are already many forms of digital ID available, provided by...
What's that? Yeah, I'll just get my wallet out. There you go. There's my driving licence. Thank you. Cheers, mate. Thank you. As easy as that. If you have your digital ID on your phone, government app, then you lose that phone, or that phone gets robbed, as you see every single day in London. What's that? ID. It's on my phone. My phone's got... I'm not coming in. No, I've not got any actual... Oh, shit. Listen, honestly, we need to start understanding and learning that if they want us to do things like that, it's a massive no-no. What's so hard about just having a little card with you in your wallet? Everyone carries the wallet or the purse or the bag with that stuff in. Your bank card, your car keys, your driving licence. You don't need it on your phone. Some people are going to fall for this and go, oh, it's a brilliant idea, I don't have to carry everything. Listen, there's more to it than just having your ID on your phone. It is ridiculous. We'll be wanting going cashless next.
It's the same technological tactics that's been used since the early thousands. Implement a small change that is beneficial, then become reliant after a while, and then before you know it, your privacy rights are being removed. They gain more control over you, and then all of a sudden, bills and rights are being changed, so they can turn that against you in the future. They've done this with debit cards and self-checkouts, so you use cash less, then voice recognition, fingerprint scanning, and iris scanning for security for your phone, and now you've got an app for your ID where soon enough, it'll become your permanent digital ID. The chip will be next because they'll create a problem where, with ID phones being stolen from you.
We have in our archive 762 first-hand whistleblowers. People who worked on these things, intercepted them, shot them down. They have everything. They have the bodies, they have the ET craft, they have the man-made craft. I've been over the facilities. I'm working directly with one of their most senior people, and they want the truth to come out. Now, my job is to see this is done and nobody else is killed.
If I came across an alien that was about 3 foot in stature, I'm going to lay that thing on the ground and blow raspberries on its belly until I can't stop laughing, because why not? It's an alien. You may as well.
Oh, a man assaulted me with milk.
You gotta prepare us for this. No. Okay, you were assaulted. No.
How dare he?
Does anyone ever remember Rick Mayall? An absolute comedy genius throughout his whole career. He was in shows such as The Young Ones. This was an early 1980s show that Rick was a big star in. And Bottom. Rick and Aid Edmondson starred in it together. It was brilliant. And also, not to forget, Drop Dead Fred. Now, obviously, not everybody can agree with all of the things that Rick Mayall said throughout his life. I mean, he's not an agreeable person with everybody. However, there was one thing that this man spoke about that has stuck with me till this day. Listen.
That knows the man who's making things he wants you to see. Destroy your television sets. Now, just listen to no orders. So I can tell you at this point of the event. We're living in a police state. So where to begun? Controlling and monitoring the movement of individuals within the society. Putting chips in passports. ID cards. CCTV. They're using this orchestrated ruse to convince the public to accept Big Brother type controls. In order to stabilize world population, they need or want to dispose of 6.5 billion people. Horrible thing to say, but isn't it just as bad not to?
And by the way, if you're not following me yet, you flipping should be.
My best half knows the director of his last film, One by One, and her face was actually also on the cover of the film. But him, like many others, knew what was happening and knew what's to come.
Are you guys hearing this? They're saying the reason for the drones is because Iran sent a mothership to our east coast, and they are sending drones in around America. I wonder why this would be allowed. I'm about to show you the video, but first, what's the deal, TikTok? Every time me or any other creator talks about these stupid drones, you get us one of these. That's weird to me. This stuff is literally on the news, but if someone else says that y'all don't like it, something's not adding up here. Come back in a minute.
From very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones. It's everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly.
So again, why would Iran be allowed to send drones to go over the country all over the place? I'm sorry, that don't make no sense. Now back to you, TikTok. There's a reason creators are leaving your platform and doing way better elsewhere. On this app, we used to actually be able to say things, especially talk about events going on in the world. And I have a lot of friends that are big creators on this app, and the same thing's happening to them. Can't even talk about what's happening in Malibu. See y'all elsewhere.
I guess that confirms one of the theories I mentioned earlier about New Jersey.
Eastern Star. And it's not just the men, it's the women. Yeah, if there's a women's group and you see the satanic pentagram, the 2 points indicate the horn, horns of the devil pointing upward there. You see a pentagon in the middle. That again is an occultic symbol, and it makes you think about the great war god Mars. It's one of the symbols of the war god Mars. And what is the Pentagon in Washington, D.C.? In the shape of, well, of course, a pentagon and the god of Mars, or the god of war, which is...
So Washington State was founded on July 16th, 1790 and mapped out by a French-born American by the name of Pierre Charles Elephant. I'm not sure what the name is, but the pyramid and the pentagram that was mapped out, the locations of the government buildings that stand today, all came from this guy, who was also initiated into Freemasonry on April 17th, 1789 in a lodge in New York City. So, you know, it's all by design.
Dude, what's up with all these petrified giant elephants? Hold up. Look right here, dude. You see this little tusk right here? Hold on. Upon further inspection, yes, it may be a tiny little tusk, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, it even looks like the skin, dude. Still not convinced. How about this right here then, Nancy? Those look like toenails of an elephant to me. This is absolutely incredible, man. And you got this other one right here, man. Elephant rock in the Philippines. Now, I can understand people's argument. Well, it ain't it's just a rock. Because, yes, while it does favor an elephant, I'm not saying that it would. But this one right here, dude, look at the tusk, man, and the toenail. That's almost can't be a coincidence. But this is supposed to be a natural rock formation. Natural rock formation, right? Now, look at the little toenails, man. Look at the little wrinkles on his little foot. You know what I'm saying? Just like a real elephant. It's always the questions, never the answers. Y'all have a good day.
I mean, if this was carved, I could understand, but for this to be like a natural formation just seems very sus to me, almost as if it's like maybe just AI.
Why do 70% of people never question the trails in the sky? Let's dive into chemtrails. It's called geoengineering. Sounds suspicious, right? Chemtrails are not condensation. They're a cocktail with over 49 ingredients, including aluminum oxide particles, arsenic, barium, bacilli and mold, bionatal particles, bromium, cadmium, chromium, cobalt, ethylene dibromide, enterobacteria CE, lead, manganese, mercury, methyl aluminum, nano-aluminum coated fiberglass, nanoparticles, nitrogen trifluoride, polymer fibers, radioactive cesium, radioactive thorium, reduced graphene oxide, synthetic polymers, selenium, strontium, submicron particles, uranium, yellow fungal mycotoxins, fluoride, and much more designed to do more than alter the weather. Billions of tiny particles raining down on us, infiltrating our bodies and minds. According to recent findings, these substances could enhance phonon-based consciousness harvesting. Translation: mind control on a massive scale. Still think those streaks in the sky are innocent? Experts warn that these particles can interfere with natural brain functions, potentially making us more susceptible to external influence. It's not just science fiction, it's a chilling reality. Next time you look up and see those trails, remember, they are more than just sky art.
There's been numerous news outlets that's confirmed the existence of chemtrails, as well as the Met Office. So why is there still so many people labeling this as a conspiracy?
The worst year in human history was the year 536 AD. They called it like the year of darkness.
536 AD. When was that? What was happening at that time?
There was a volcano that erupted in Iceland that ended up making the sky dark around the entire world, Europe, Asia, Africa.
Yeah.
Dark for an entire year from this cloud. How big
An entire year?
An entire year, to where all these different nations recorded that year of like the sun gave off light like the moon.
Oh my gosh.
Like it gave off no warmth, and the global temperature dropped 15 degrees within that year. And so there was mass famine.
Yeah.
It was like recorded in China that it was snowing during the summer.
Sounds like you're just describing Portland at this point. Like,
but what that did was, with the famine and all that stuff, all these animals, mainly rats, because it was so cold outside, they would come into homes, which can end up leading to the bubonic plague.
No way, because they carried it. Wow.
It was like the first recorded plague was from the result of this volcano going off in Iceland.
With the way people play with our skies trying to block out the sun, I wouldn't be surprised if we came across another bubonic plague in the future.
So as I've been looking into all these bovine food supplements for the cattle this afternoon, I've come across something else. And you definitely need to give this a watch, because this is only just the beginning of what they're trying to do.
40. What's City 40?
Listen.
Never heard of it. Go look it up and you'll find London, Manchester and 100 or so cities around the world are signed up to it. The stated objective is to reduce meat and dairy consumption by 75%. How is that going to be achieved? They're not going to persuade people to eat tumour burgers, but they are going to be able to force kids at school and people in hospitals to eat what they're provided. And the state has taken the decision that it will impose that kind of system and it will reduce meat and dairy in diets. And believe me, the propaganda over the next 2 or 3 years will be fantastic.
So I've looked into this City 40 and I've read through some of the documents and what they're trying to fucking lay out. And they basically want to get to a point where we are only consuming 16 kilos of meat per person per year and only 90 kilos of dairy per person per year. And this is all to do with apparently saving the climate. And also on this site, it basically talks about switching over to fucking plant-based ingredients. But we know it's not all going to be plant-based, is it? It's all fucking lab-grown shit. If you want to go and read up on this City 40 yourself, I've put the website in the description. But like I said at the beginning, all this with the bovine, this is just the beginning.
There's no way I'm going to be eating plant-based garbage, but it's times like this that I wish I had my own cows and chickens, being self-sustainable for me and my family. I have left that link to the C40 this guy was referring to in the description below, so go ahead and check that out at the end of the show.
Heath, who I actually experienced in a makeup room in Sky Television back in 1989, do some strange things indeed, which I didn't understand at the time, but I sure as heck do now. When I arrived at the studio, I was told to go to the makeup room. I was led there, but left there because the makeup lady wasn't there. And there was one other person in the room, and that was Ted Heath, who'd just been interviewed on the program and then had come to have the makeup taken off. So I sat in the chair next to him, just two of us, that's all. And of course I know Ted Heath and all that stuff, so never met him before, but I know of him, of course, as Prime Minister. So I turned to him and I said, all right then, nice to meet you. And he never reacted. And he turned to me, he never moved his body, just his head, never acknowledged me at any time. And he looked at me, and he started at the top of his head, and once he turned his head to look like that, he never moved his head either once he turned his head. The only thing that moved was his eyes. And his eyes started at the top of my head, and all I can describe it as, I said when I came back afterwards to my family, I said, you'll never believe the experience I've had with Ted Heath tonight. He scanned me, this guy. His eyes went from the top of my head down to my feet, just his eyes moving, like I say, and then back up again, got to the top of my head, and then just turned his head back and looked at the mirror, never said a word. What happened was that all of his eyes, the whites, the colour, and the pupil, they all went black. The whole of both eyes was black. Now, when we look at people, we talk about what? We talk about making eye contact. Now, I'm looking at you and I'm making a contact somewhere here, right? When his eyes went into this blackness, there was no point where I made eye contact. It was like looking, I can only describe it as looking into two black holes. There was no point where it stopped. I was contacted by a lady who used to be the wife of a guy who was warden of a place called Burnham Beeches in the west of London, not far from Slough, about 25 minutes drive from Chequers, the Prime Minister's country residence. And she said that her husband was a Satanist because they had to be to do the job, because one of their roles was to organize satanic rituals for the elite in Burnham Beeches. And what she told me was that she was out in Burnham Beeches, which is an area of woodland and clearings, one night during this period where she was with her satanic husband there. And she saw a light, and she followed the light. She's going through the bushes, and when she got closer, she saw a ritual going on with people in long gowns. And what amazed her was the man leading the ritual was Ted Heath. This was amazing enough. And as I'm leaving, after having had this chat where she described all this, I'm finishing my cup of tea and I put it down. And I made a joke of it. I just said to her, I'm having some strange experiences recently. I said, I keep meeting people laughing that tell me they keep seeing people turn into reptiles. I made a joke of it, and I turned to go. And as I turned to go, all I could hear was this woman heaving for breath. And I turned around, and she's holding her chest, gasping for breath. And the first thing she said was, "Oh my God, I thought it was only me." And I said, "What are you talking about?" Because, I hadn't talked about this stuff to anyone before. I was just letting it kind of sizzle away, see where it went. And she said, "Well, I wasn't going to tell you that because I thought, Ted Heath having a satanic ritual was stretching enough." She said, "Well, what actually happened was, as I observed this ritual, Heath turned into a reptile and grew by about 2 feet. And this growing into a much taller entity is probably about 95% of these sort of accounts that have given to me around the world have included that."
What are your thoughts on this? Do you believe what David Icke is saying here, or do you think that it's just some fabricated story that he's made up? I have heard that, Heath was an evil man.
Someone invent something that we will be talking to each other through cobweb. And he shook his head and said, "I don't understand what that meant." And then some young fellow told him that that's a telephone line. You look up in the sky, it looked like cobwebs up there. We're talking to each other. And pretty soon, there'll be a time we close everything in a room talking, doors and windows. But way over the mountain someplace, somewhere be hearing us talking. And I couldn't understand that, he said. Then again, this one fellow told him that must be radio or TV. And then these period inventions will show where we are in this life as we go along. Then he said there'll be road in the sky. And he shook his head. He said, I don't see how anybody could build a road way up in the sky where people will be traveling. But they found out that it was airplane that be having a road up there, carrying people up there. So then he said, when that is fulfilled, there can be trouble on this earth because man has gone too far going that way. They're going to start fighting one another. They're going to be quarreling. They're going to be trouble all over. Young people will not respect for the elders, or elders will just neglect their children and go all out for this and that. They're just not going to have any more respect of things around nature that's provided, because we want to have those things. And they're going to be like that, and pretty soon one of these that has been commissioned by the Great Spirit over here will rise up and shake the world real hard. A warning to us. Now you people are not following the instructions that the Great Spirit told you to follow. And this is what's going to happen. Many life and property will be destroyed there. There'll be world-shaking events take place. Then it stopped for a while. Then we go on. Then another came along, more advanced things will be invented. This time they said they're going to start messing around with the moon and stars. And they must know that someday somebody's going to get to the moon. They said that if you ever get to the moon, don't bring anything down from the earth, from the moon down to earth. Because once you do that, then you are interfering with the balance of the universe, nature, and everything going to be disrupted. And things happen on earth you cannot control anymore. Even though you have all knowledge and scientific things, you can't. When earthquakes start shaking, you're going to be helpless. When a great wind becomes destructive, you're going to be helpless. This is what's going to happen here. So, but then we want many things there because there are other things going to be developed there. We began to see many money systems develop. We see the new gadgets of all kinds being developed. Then everybody wants to have a new car every year. We all work and strive, and we don't care how we get it, so we fight and we struggle and we do all that, and we forget the spiritual things. We forget ourselves, how we connected to the grass, trees, animals, clouds. We forget all those things, and we struggle and trying to get all this. And then this is the place where someone would invent what he termed gourd full of ashes. It's going to be, he went like that, and it's going to be so small, but it's going to be so powerful that if ever anytime mankind ever allowed that to fall on the earth someplace, it is going to be so hot that it's going to boil oceans, rivers. It's going to burn everything to ashes. And he described what will happen when that ever took place. Out of it, much sickness and things will develop that man will not be able to cure some of those things. That is going to happen here, between these two. Then there will be also another world-shaking events take place that another one stands up and said, now you people are not following the instruction, you're going too far away, start destroying things. So they warn us again. And this time, this third one's coming up with much greater. This time there'll be someone's going to start farther away messing around with moon and stars. And the last thing he will invent would be a huge house that would be floating way up in the sky someplace, carrying people and things. When that is fulfilled, this old man said, then you better start learning how to live on this earth, how to survive, because the earthquake might hit certain areas very strong someday and knock everything down. Or there may be a severe famine come along, or be a flood or storm, lightning. Everything starts hitting us very strongly because nature's going to be acting very strongly here. So this is where he said we're in there, because by that time one of our own native people will join them to others and tell their own people, forget your language, forget your ways, forget your songs, you come and follow us. Look, we got money, we got all this material gain, all these things, and new TV, new cars, new this and that. So just forget about it, come this way. And they will also try to influence many of our own people to go that way. But then they will advance in scientific things, inventions, but they're going to destroy themselves with what they invented.
Crazy, because you look at the timeline that we are in now and it speaks volumes for itself. We live in a society where materialism has become a measure of our success and of who we are. And as a result of that, it's made society become greedier and less appreciative of other things. It's also become this sort of consumer culture whereby we waste so much, leading to the likes of pollution, deforestation, and our natural resources being depleted. Not to mention the anxiety and stress it can cause to some because of feeling pressured to keep up with like societal standards and expectations.
If you were the devil, how would you keep people as far away from God as possible without them realizing it?
Well, if I were the devil, I'd start by corrupting mainstream religion, turning it into a tool for control, hypocrisy, and division. I'd twist sacred teachings into rules that breed judgment and fear, driving people away from faith and making them question the authenticity of God's message. I'd divide believers against one another, creating conflict within their own community so they'd focus on fighting each other rather than seeking unity or truth. I'd then create distractions that seem harmless, but consume their attention, pulling them away from spiritual growth. I'd promote materialism, convincing them that happiness comes from possessions. I'd encourage a culture of busyness, leaving little time for reflection or connection with the divine. And finally, I'd ensure that doubt and fear overshadow faith and love, so they become too disillusioned to ever seek a higher power.
Wow. As a Christian, this is why having a relationship with our Creator and praying is important. We're all on this journey together, but we all have our own different roads to walk.
When are you gonna get out of here?
In a while. I gotta get back.
I love you, Mama!
I love you too, baby!
Minnesota. Few details are being released, but we do know that they made one bust in Maplewood. That's where Jeff Curley is standing by right now. Jeff, what do you have going on for us?
They're still inside searching for evidence. I'm told 6 people have been arrested and charged with intent to possess and deliver cocaine. I'm told as much as 44 pounds of cocaine. As I said, they're still inside. They used a battering ram to break through glass in a steel-reinforced door here. We first heard about it through a tip line call early this...
Jesteśmy w Lidzbarku Marymińskim na pierwszej rundzie KTM sklep Enduro Race. Cześć Grzesiek, jak Ci się podobało?
No super, ale wiesz, muszę jechać, nie?
Damn it! Rouse, what are you doing? Put me down! Jack's gonna get mad! I am the chopper! Stop laughing!
Thanks everyone for chilling out to the very end, and if you made it this far, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, as it really does help me and the channel out. It also signals to the algorithm to push out the video even more. But until the next time everyone, please stay safe and much love.